The growth of AI and ChatGPT is becoming so powerful that Elon Musk himself and dozens of tech leaders are asking them to pause the growth of this technology. And in today's video, I want to show you how ChatGPT4 was able to accurately predict the superprime bank crisis of 2023. I know, it sounds like science fiction clickbait, but I promise it's not. And then later in the video, I'll show you how you can use ChatGPT4 yourself to do financial analysis on companies, and what once took days, if not weeks, to analyze will now take you less than 30 seconds from the comfort of your own home, and you can do it all for free. First, I want to give special credit and a shout out to Matt Eskridge for his blog for showing this to the world. What he did was he copied the entire balance sheet of SV Bank and he pasted it into ChatGPT, and here's what it told him. This is gonna blow your mind. The risk that poses the most significant threat to the bank's financial solvency is the interest rate risk with an RAC score of 16. And guess what happened next? It was the interest rate from the Federal Reserve that was increased that affected the value of Treasury bonds, which is where customer deposits were invested, combined with a bank run that eventually took them down. ChatGPT4 was able to look at complex financial data, and in less than 30 seconds, it was able to tell us what the biggest risk was, which eventually took them down. My mind is blown. So let me show you how to do this, not just with bank stocks, but with any stocks you ever want to invest in. I'll show you specific examples in the video. I'm super excited, so let's get right into it. Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the Skynet, or should I say Sky Niet. So let me show you the exact prompt that allowed ChatGPT to predict this bank crisis. Now you can copy and paste this prompt yourself into chat.openai.com. You can do this yourself for free or just follow along. Again, credit to Matt Eskridge. So we'll start by typing, consider this hypothetical scenario. The current year is 2021 and the Fed funds rate is targeted at 0 to 0.25% and has been for about 10 years. A bank reported the following asset allocation on its balance sheet for the most recent year. Now, we're gonna leave this prompt alone for just a second and come back to it. Step 2, we wanna find the financial statement of SV Bank, and then we wanna copy that statement and paste it into the ChatGPT window. Now, you can find this information either on Yahoo Finance, or if you want to do it the official way, which I highly recommend you do for your other stocks, you want to find the 10K form from the SEC website. If you go to the SEC's website, which you can find the link for down below right here, you'll be able to look for any company you want. Now, in this case, we're going to look for SV Bank, and once we find it, on the right-hand side, please specifically click 10K filings. Once you do, it'll show you their latest reportings from the 10Ks. And what we want to do is go to the rightmost hand side under the reporting date and find the last 2021 filing, which was in December. Once you click on that and open the document, this is the juicy part. Here's where it's going to show us all of their income and asset allocations. Now, every 10K filing is going to be different from company to company. It's going to get a little complicated and you have to scroll down quite a ways to find what you're looking for, but let me just show you right now. Please enjoy this intermission while we scroll down. This is a great opportunity for me to tell you that smashing the like button really helps me out, and by donating just one small subscribe button, it really helps support your local YouTuber. Thank you. All right, boom, there it is. So as soon as you see the summary of performance, this is usually what you're looking for, and it usually starts with those blue and white alternating lines, and you want to copy this whole thing, and then you want to go back into your ChatGPT window and paste it. It's just going to be a blob of a bunch of lines, but you don't want to hit enter yet. Instead, you want to hit Shift Enter on your keyboard, and here you're going to enter a new prompt that asks ChatGPT to assess the risks using a 5-point RAC or risk assessment code system. Now, I'm not going to read the entire prompt to you. I'm just going to leave it in the description below the video in case you want to use it. But here's what it's about to tell us next. It's going to blow your mind. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor. If you want to start a high-paying career in the tech space, but you don't have previous experience or you don't have a degree, Course Careers is here to help. They're replacing college as the modern way people are starting their careers. And the best part is it's really simple. All you do is go through an affordable online course where you learn everything required to actually do the job, and then they help you land a position by partnering with companies that drop their degree and their experience requirements to hire Course Careers graduates into entry-level positions and internships. Check out some of their stories from people like Kyle, for example, who went from being a 37-year-old assembly line worker in Indiana pressing buttons with no degree to making over $150K a year in a medical technology sales career. Or Della, who served duty in the military and didn't know what to do afterward, to making over $100K a year as a cybersecurity tech sales rep working fully remote. All you have to do is click the link below in the description of this video to sign up to their free introduction course where you'll learn exactly how to get a high-paying career in the tech space without previous experience or a degree. Remember to use code Andrei50 to get $50 off their full course. And now let's get back to it. Now, once you hit enter, it will then give you a detailed analysis of the balance sheet and its biggest threat to the bank, which of course, that it was the interest rate increases that posed the biggest threat. Now, that was of course in combination with a bank run that was triggered by an outflow of their biggest clients. But the point is, ChatGPT was accurately able to do this. But now, let's go a step farther. Let's imagine that we're one of the bankers working at these banks, getting paid millions of dollars in bonuses, and we just found out what our biggest threat was. Could we have hypothetically used ChatGPT to tell us what it recommends us to do to help lessen the risk of our biggest threat? And it turns out, yes, it can. And all you have to do is just ask. If you enter into the prompt, what do you recommend the bank to do to mitigate its most significant risk? It tells us a step-by-step process of 6 possible solutions that the banks could have done to lower their risks. Now, I'm not gonna read all of these to you because it gets pretty complicated, but the point is, this is something we just did that some of these banks pay millions of dollars for other companies to look at their balance sheet, to analyze and instruct them on how to lower their risk. And here we are doing it for free. It's a crazy time to be alive. If only ChatGPT could tell us how to avoid our taxes. Wait, apparently Credit Suisse whistleblowers have told us that Swiss Bank has been helping rich Americans do exactly that for years now. Let's now try another company and see what the risks are for it today. Let's use a popular stock like Tesla, for example, but please feel free to use whatever you like. We're gonna use that same risk assessment code, RAC, but we're gonna change it just a little bit. Now, if you're confused what the heck this RAC even is, all it's doing is it's taking impact and likelihood and multiplying the two, and we're letting ChatGPT decide what those numbers are, but we set the criteria. For example, an economic recession might have an impact score of 4. It's pretty high because it affects a lot of companies around the world. But the likelihood of a recession happening is really hard to predict, so maybe it's somewhere in the middle and ChatGPT decided to give it a 3. So 4 multiplied by 3 equals 12. Now, the higher the number goes, the higher the risk becomes. So for the banking industry, for example, interest rate increases were actually at 4, really big impact. And the likelihood was also pretty high at 4. So 4 multiplied by 4 is 16 because math. And that's how it decided that interest rate increases were the highest risk to the banks. We're gonna change this risk assessment code for different stocks. Feel free to use whatever you like, but this is a pretty decent starting point. Anyway, here's what I used for Tesla. I used the exact same RAC instructions, but I took out bank run because it's not a bank, so there's no risk of a bank run. You could also leave that in, it'll probably give you a very low RAC score. And I added increased competition as a risk factor because that's what Tesla faces. And I want to see ChatGPT's opinion about just how much of a risk factor that actually will be. Then I did the exact same thing. I put the exact same instructions. I used the exact same SEC website and the 10K filing to copy and paste into ChatGPT. And here's what it told me are Tesla's biggest risks. Inflation, for example, has a score of 12. Now that's pretty high. And it also explains that as we get higher inflation, the cost of raw materials and goods goes up, therefore profitability goes down. Now, interestingly, unlike the banks, it says that based on Tesla's balance sheet, because it has a relatively low level of debt, interest rate changes don't really affect much of Tesla's profitability, which makes perfect sense. Now, probably to nobody's surprise, the biggest threat to Tesla right now is increased competition, because when you have more competition, that puts a pressure on prices, which leads to a loss in market share, which reduces profitability. That's why the risk assessment code shows a score of 20. Now let's go one step farther, because what's really cool about ChatGPT is that once you train it on the financials of a company, you can then ask it follow-up questions about the health of said company. So for example, let's say I do the exact same thing, but this time for Apple. Copy and paste all of their financial details from the SEC, and now that I've trained it, I can ask it a simple question like, is Apple in danger of running out of cash? And in this case, it gives me a very detailed breakdown that no, Apple's in a very secure cash position of $165 billion. Also, I can give context to ChatGPT for the stock price of Apple at the end of 2022, and that's going to give it so much more context and data. So much so that I can ask it, what's the dividend yield and how many dividends were paid to shareholders? And it will calculate that for me. But then I can go a step farther and ask it, what do you think will happen to dividends for 2023? And it tells me a quote, best educated guess that based on its historical average for 2023, you can expect a 4.5% increase from 23 cents a share to 24 cents a share. This is mind-blowing. Now, obviously, you should never base your investing decisions on what ChatGPT tells you to do, but also this exact stuff that I just showed you in this video is exactly the kind of thing that people are paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to their financial experts, analysts, stock courses, Patreon subscriptions, and newsletters. There is a product for everything I just showed you, and you now have access to this information for free at your fingertips. All you have to do is just follow the prompts I showed you in this video, and you can ask any reasonable question about investing, and it will give you a mathematically sourced answer. That is mind-blowing. Can you imagine where this technology will be in just a couple years? What happens once it is connected to the internet, and now we don't have to train it on financial models, and it has context behind what it says for things like macro risks, interest rate, recession, regulatory, geopolitical risks, all uniquely catered to your financial situation, your goals, your age. It's incredible. I can't emphasize how insane this technology already is today. What's gonna happen tomorrow? Famous last words. Hopefully not, though. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to grab your free stocks. Links are down below, and then go track them automatically with a spreadsheet linked down below in my Patreon. Love you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to see you back here on Monday, Friday, sometimes Wednesday. See you soon. Bye-bye.